Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you today? My apologies. I'm a little bit later than I intended to be. I was hoping to go on at 2 o'clock. This is CET because I'm in France here. Uh, but it's now 1/2 past. Yeah, dogs. That's all I can say. When you've got four big dogs, that's the way your life goes. That's what happens. But anyway, I wanted to jump on today to have a chat to you about your river of abundance. Now, many of you who know me know that I not only am I a content coach and look at content strategy, but I like to. Well, I'm a very spiritual person myself, and I bring a lot of elements of that into what I do with you. So, if you're spiritually minded and you're looking for someone who gets that side of your business, then that's something that certainly I can help you with. And I've got my January offer still on, which I will talk about at the end. If at any point you want to have a chat with me about whether I can help you with your content and visibility, then please do go to my website, fionagazza.com/contact, and fill in the booking. You can book yourself in a 1/2 hour slot with me for free, and we can chat further about what you need. So without further ado, what am I talking about with a river of abundance? Well, been following a lot of Denise Duffield Thomas recently. I love her down to earth style. I love how she's really real, and I love her branding, and I love just her message generally. Um, and she talks a lot about the river of abundance, and what you want ideally is, on a metaphorical level at least, a free flowing, clear river, clear of rubbish and stuff like that. So, and now she talks a lot about that being on like a spiritual level, on the law of attraction thing, like letting go of blocks, money blocks, and limiting beliefs and things like that. And she talks about tapping, and these are all really great sort of things. They calm anxiety a lot when you're sort of EFT tapping. But yeah, you can find a lot of that information out online and on YouTube and stuff like that anyway. But what I'm talking about today is slightly more practical things that you can do. So if you imagine this river, and maybe there's a waterfall or something, and at the moment there's only a trickle of water coming over the waterfall, and the reason for that is that your river might have old shopping trolleys and rubbish and rusty old cars blocking up the river and not allowing the abundance to flow, the abundance being the water to flow. And so that can just sort of stop people from ending up as a client. On a practical level, what I'm talking about are things like, well, I'll go through the list and see what you think. So, number one is your website doesn't reflect your business anymore. So, I talked about this last week with the content plan, is take a good look at your website and ask yourself, is this reflecting? Hi, Holly, how are you? Good to see you. So is your website really reflecting what you're offering? And do you know in your heart what it is that is so special about you? And I mean that wholeheartedly. Everybody in business and not in business, it's, not everybody's come to realize things yet. um Everybody has something special and unique to offer, and it's about finding that thing. One of the most fulfilling parts of my job is actually pinpointing what that is that's so special about what you're offering, what makes it unique. Because I often use the example of a life coach. Somebody says, I'm a life coach, and people hear that term, and that can be a bit off-putting for some people. They're like, well, I don't need a life coach, I got my life sorted, there's nothing wrong with me, and get quite defensive. But actually, if you as an example, one of my clients is um, specializing in rejection. She wants to get more work helping people to overcome rejection. So we've created her branding where her sort of tagline is about moving beyond rejection, rather than just, oh, transformational life coach. that doesn't really say what she's doing, but moving beyond rejection means that if you've got rejection issues, which I know a lot of people have, then she's your woman. She's the one to help you with that. Other life coaches have different specialisms, but that's just one example. So with her content, we're creating content that is reflecting that element, and that is the kind of business that she wants more of. So that's what we're working towards. Because you might go, so here's the thing, since we've gone online since COVID, this is one of the gifts of the pandemic, is that you no longer have to rely on the people that can physically get to you in your local community. You can literally serve anybody from anywhere around the world these days. If you're coaching, if you've moved from a physical presence thing to an online thing, all of my coaching is done online through Zoom. And I've reached a much wider audience as a result of that. So that to me is a huge bonus. So yeah, but my website is also reflecting the fact that I'm a content coach, but I have sort of slightly more spiritual methods as well. So if somebody is really struggling with voicing what's going on, then I've got techniques that might be, I don't know, sort of tapping or forgiveness work, or that's kind of your basic Denise Duffield Thomas things. But there are other things as well, listening to your soul client, as I like to call it, and coming up with your soul marketing message. You'll have seen other videos of mine that talk about that. So that's point number one. Your website is not reflecting your business anymore. So yeah, just review that and look with an honest, open heart as to what it is, and change it, tweak it. I mean, Google loves a website that's been updated recently. It's tweaking to improve and just bring it into alignment with where you are. Okay, so point number two is that you aren't telling anybody you're open for business. A lot of people shy away from actually kind of declaring to the world that they've got a business. You might have a website, but there's nothing on your profile that says that you're a business person, you're running a business. And there's a few things that you can do to just sort of tell the world, tell your network that you are there open for business. Yeah. So one key thing is, one, it's like people want to see your face. Okay. So on your Facebook profile, make sure your profile picture is of you, not of your husband, your child, your dog. I'm one that has had my dog as my profile picture before, but now I know better. I do better. So that's the rule. So make it you, clearly you. Take a good selfie if you don't have access or means to get a photographer to do some proper shots yet. But everybody can, do your hair nice, put on a bit of makeup, take some selfies and use those. If you're like me and you keep changing your hairstyle, then you have to keep doing them. So, that's the way it is. So yeah. And on your profile cover picture, it's a really good idea to, first of all, have a group for your business. Not Groups are not for purely promoting your business as such. They are for imparting free information to people who can then follow you and make recommendations that people come and follow you too. So, this is going into my Facebook group, it's going onto my Facebook page, and it's going onto my YouTube channel. So there's three places from me sitting here once and doing this live that this is going out to. And the majority of people that watch your stuff is on the replay. And while we're there, if you are watching this live, put me a hashtag live. If you're watching this on the replay, put me a hashtag replay in the comments, just so I know who's been here, who's watching. And obviously, if you've got any questions about anything that I'm talking about today, then just pop them in the comments. Even if you're watching on the replay, I'll come back and answer what I can and maybe pop it into next week's live if it's sort of a larger question. So, Yeah, so you are not telling anybody you're open for business is point number 2. And in that vein, point number 3 is you're neglecting your SEO. Um, for those of you who don't know what SEO is, because the number of people I've said SEO and they literally look at me like, what are you talking about? SEO stands for search engine optimization. It is just the things that you do to your website that tell Google that you're there and what you're about, basically. If you want um, sort of in-depth information about different types of SEO, there are various resources on that. There's Yoast, there's Neil Patel. It's I can help you with your content SEO, so your on-page SEO they call it, and there's off-page SEO, and that's all about technical things like how fast your website runs, how fast your website delivers. It's about where your website is pointing out to and where is pointing to your website. Well, the pointing out is more your on-page stuff. There's some crossover. But yeah, it's a huge subject. But even if you just tweak your website in one of these areas, it's going to improve things for your visibility in search. So yeah, that's a huge topic. And in fact, that's probably one for a whole talk on its own. Um, different things in SEO. But primarily, things I'm going to talk about are I'm going to get to number 5, which talks about ways of improving your user journey. But point number 4 is that you don't have a mailing list. And what I mean by that is emails. So you'll remember back in October when Facebook went down, like the panic that gave was well, it's not funny because people lost a lot of money over that outage, because there are so many people that purely run their business through Facebook. And I can see why you do it, absolutely. But if you don't have something off of Facebook, Facebook is like renting a house and making it all nice. Say you're renting from a private landlord, and then I don't know, he goes out of business or whatever, or he sells the house, then you've got zero control over all the stuff you've done in that house. And you can be thrown out on your ear, basically. And people have done that, and people's businesses have gone under because they've purely relied on Facebook. However, if you have a website and then you've got mailing lists and you've got a newsletter list, and yeah, again, there are ways of building the newsletter list. And I have got a live planned all about newsletters. Yeah, this is how you can leverage, your audience off of Facebook, and it's another way of getting in touch and with people who are following your stuff already, to tell them that you've blogged, to tell them that you've got a new product range in, or to tell them what you've been up to that week. There are many things that can be conveyed through a newsletter. So yeah, that's really quite a missed opportunity. I mean, at the very least, even if you don't have a website, you can sign up for a free MailChimp account. Or if you've got a WordPress website, you can sign up for a free MailPoet account. There's many platforms, and if you've got a favorite platform that you like to use for newsletters, pop it in the chat so everyone can have a little look and see what's available. Okay, so newsletters, yeah, that's a whole topic, but this is just a quick overview of things that you can do to improve your visibility. So number 5, I've put there are holes in your net, which is another metaphor, because I do like my metaphors, you may have noticed. What I mean by that, imagine like you're fishing and you've got these big fishing nets. And if there's holes in your net, then the fish escape and you don't harvest the fish. So what I'm talking about there is that you've written a fantastic blog post, but at the end of the blog post, you've not told people what to do next. So I might have read an amazing blog post. Yeah, that ticks all my boxes. That gives me some great advice. And then at the end of that, while the person's feeling good that you've given them some really valuable information, that's the time to put in, if you want to talk further about this, book in a free half an hour discovery call. If this is talking to you, then you might be interested in my program. You might be interested in this thing I have to offer, or I sell this item that relates to this. A really good one recently. I've been getting into Outlander on Netflix. And it's actually made me think more about my own Scottish heritage because, when you sort of like things, you look for connections, don't you? I don't know if you do this or it's just me being a weirdo, but you start to look for connections between yourself and the characters and the ideology around it. So, obviously that has its limits, but yeah. So when it's something like that, yes, my grandpa was Scottish, my great grandmother was Scottish, and so I looked into all of that. Now I went and found out stuff about the clan that my family descended from, and it's a really clever thing that they've done. It's all about Scottish clans. And there's blog posts about the different clans and the tartans and all of that. And then they sell products with your clan's crest on and your clan's tartan on and stuff like that. Now, I didn't buy anything from it, but it was a really clever marketing technique. And if I was so minded, and I might do so in the future, to buy sort of memorabilia with my clan's tartan on, then I know where to go now. So yeah, just think about sort of cross marketing, and just um making the connections with stuff. So yeah, I've got somebody watching on YouTube apparently. I don't know who that is, but and their message makes absolutely zero sense. So I'm not even going to pronounce your name because I know I'm going to get it wrong. Thank you for commenting anyway. So yeah, those are really just 5 quick overview things of reasons why your website might not be bringing you the clients that you need. I mean, sort of in terms of slipping through your net, if you've, say, got a program, how easy is it for people to sign up? Can somebody go to your website and if they were so minded, can they just go and buy your program automatically through that? Or do they need to come through you and you invoice them? And which is like, that can work fine for many industries, but it's also maybe a little bit clunky. And there's people who can slip through the net again because you've not really fully captured them. So yeah, just sort of have a look at these things. And again, this is the kind of thing that we can look at if you wanted to come and have a deep dive session with me, is that I can have a look across your entire online presence and spot these gaps in your user journey. It's really, really important that you just think, okay, have I maximized every opportunity in here? It's not to be massively salesy. It's about being useful to people for free, which is what a blog is. It's giving information for free that it might even be stuff that you touch upon or go into greater depth on in your paid offerings. But just to sort of show people, one, that you know what you're talking about, 2, give them some value so that they see you in a better light. It's all know, like, and trust and things like that. Yeah. Does it make sense? You know where I'm going with this. Cool. So yeah, that's just a quick 5 things. Again, if you're watching this on the replay, do me a hashtag replay just to say hi. And if you've got any questions about any of what I've spoken about there, or you want to go deeper into any of it, drop me a comment and I will see how I can best answer you. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully that's been useful to you. And I will see you next Monday. At about 2 o'clock, but kind of depends on the dogs as to whether I might be late or not. But take care. Hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.